Good morning. We're going to wait another few seconds to to allow for people to join us, and then we will get started. All right, it is 10:02, so we will get started. Good morning. My name is Jamie Watts. I'm the Deputy Director for the Division of Small Business, and we are excited to have you all here with us today to go over our EDGE grant competition. And so today what we're going to do is we're going to go over the what the competition is, what our application requirements are, how to fill out your proposal template and what the rubric looks like, what makes a strong proposal, and then also answer your questions. And today I am joined by our two business managers, Joe Zilkowski, Gemini Cornish, and then also our Director of Business Finance, JJ Moore, and our Director of Office of Supplier Diversity, Siobhan White. Throughout this entire webinar, if you have questions, please go ahead and put them in the Q&A. We will be reviewing it as we go and typing some answers back, and then we'll also have a Q&A session at the very end. This is also being recorded, so if at any point you want to revisit this information, it will be posted on our website, which will provide the link to you at the end of this. It will be posted on the website by tomorrow. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to one of our business managers, Gemini Cornish. Gemini?
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Jamie, for the introduction and opening the webinar. So before we get started, I think it's important to give you a little background on EDGE and the impact the program has had across Delaware. Since EDGE was established, Delaware has invested more than $10 million in over 130 small businesses across the state, doing exactly what EDGE stands for: encouraging development, growth, and expansion. Businesses have used EDGE funding to purchase equipment, develop new technology and innovative products, expand into additional location, and even launch new businesses right here in Delaware. So EDGE is really about investing in Delaware small businesses and helping them make the next steps toward growth and expansion. So let's talk about a little bit about how the EDGE grant competition works. There are two tracks, Entrepreneur and STEM, and the amount of funding available depends on the track and category. One thing I want to point out is that EDGE is a competition. So not every finalist will necessarily receive the same award amount or the full amount they requested. Awards are scale based on the quality of the finalist pitch and the overall strength of their application. But there is something that every finalist receives, regardless of whether they are ultimately become an awardee or not, and that's scope and services. Scoping gives finalists an opportunity to take a deeper look at their business, identify challenges and opportunities, and develop a plan to address them. And if you're not selected for an award, you can use what you learned through the scoping process to strengthen your business and your proposal if you decide to apply for EDGE again in the future. Also, if you are selected as an awardee, there's an additional opportunity as well, which is the recipient network. You'll have an opportunity to connect and network with businesses that have received funding through the Delaware Division of Small Business, not just EDGE awardees. The goal is to create opportunities for businesses to connect, learn from one another, share experience, and provide guidance and support one another. So now I'll turn it over to Joe Zilkowski.
So as Gemini said, this is a competition, and there are only a few winners, and I just wanted to go over some of the winners' projects from this last time. One of them is Huxley and Hero. They're an independent bookstore in Wilmington, and they realized that when they had events, that their profit margins were much wider, and they had an upstairs space that they wanted to turn into an event space. So their project was to finish off that event space so that they could widen their margins. Another one, Littletown, they are at Early Learning Center, and they're a startup. It's much more difficult to win as a startup, but it is possible, and we are helping them with their build out. And those are on the entrepreneur side. On the STEM side, they're a little more tech-based, obviously. Dunia Analytics is a lot. They're very timing-wise. So if you think of sort of companies measuring their impact on weather, they are helping companies measure their impact on the environment as a whole. And timing is essential, and the European Union has just put in some standards that are going to go into place next year. So we're helping them build out some additional actionable modules for their data set. House Call VR is a company that helps patients remember to either take their medicine or do certain things after they visit a hospital or a doctor's office, helping improve results. They're using virtual reality for this first round, but we're helping them with their module to teach back so that the doctors know that they've learned what they've been taught, and also to help bring it onto additional platforms. Then I'm going to turn it over to JJ to help with the application side.
Thank you, Joe. So our application for EDGE is an online application. So to access that application, you're going to go to our website, which is business.delaware.gov. You're going to go to the About Us tab, and you're going to click on the Division of Small Business portal. And then below, you'll see this page. You're going to click on the Service and Payment portal button, and then it will take you directly into the portal. Once you're in the portal, you'll see a tile that says EDGE Program, and it looks a little something like this. And what you're going to do is click on View Program Details, and that's how you'll get into the application. Once you get into View Program Details, you will see the screen that gives you a synopsis of EDGE as a program and all of the things that you're going to need, which we will go over in this webinar, in order to submit a complete application. If for some reason you hit this page and you decide that you need more information, or you would like to see the webinar again, other rubrics, you can go back down to more details are available here. If you click on available here, it will drop you to the EDGE landing page. If you decide that you have everything that you need and you're ready to apply, you click apply for program and fill out the application, and make sure to include all your documents. Sometimes, if you would like to review your application afterwards, you can save your progress at any time. So if you go into the application and you decide that, hey, I need some more information, or I need to gather my documents, you can stop at any time. If you go to the top of the page at applications, you'll see a list of all the applications that you've ever completed or started with the division. If your application is in progress, you can click resume, and it'll drop you right off where you were. If you have submitted your application, you'll see submitted, and you can view the application. Please remember that once you get to the end, you're going to see complete application. You'll need to click that blue button. There will be no notification, whether that be an email or on the website, showing that you submitted your application. However, you will see two emails. Once you get to the signing page, you'll see an email that says you need to sign the document, and then an email that says you have signed the application. Again, there will be no notification after that the application has been submitted, but you can go back into the application screen and verify that you submitted your application. And I'll turn it back over to Joe.
Great. So we're going to go over just how to complete your proposal right now, just to get the application in properly. There are some standard things we want. One, if you're a STEM business, you apply for the STEM application. And if you're an entrepreneur, you apply for the entrepreneur application. These are just some standard things, Times New Roman, 12 points. We ask that the application be between 5 and 10 pages. If possible, we found that people, when they stretch it out, they get repetitive. And then each application, so this is for the entrepreneur application. We're going to want to understand your project. company background, founders qualifications, and then business need, the return on investment, competitive advantage gained, and community impact. And each section will have a rubric. So if you look to the right here, this is the rubric for business need. If you see the 5 points for business need, that's very minimal amount. Obviously, you want to win this competition. So you want to look at the 25-point section and include it in as detailed as possible. And that is what the judges will be scoring off of. And then the STEM proposal, very similar. But if you do look at the STEM proposal, the rubric is slightly different. This is just a sample of the competitive advantage gained section of the rubric. When you're filling out your proposal, make sure you are looking at all the sections of the rubric and answering all the questions. The better you answer those questions, the higher your score. You will need to upload 4 documents, an income statement, a balance sheet, which Jory will go into, and a detailed budget, which Jory will go into, but also a state of Delaware business license. Temporary licenses are available immediately online, and they have, I think, a 60-day window. As long as you're in that window, we will accept those. If you go to the next slide, this is what a business license looks like. It is not your LLC. Again, it's not an S Corp. It is a business license with the state of Delaware. Jory, back to you.
And let's talk a little bit about balance sheet versus income statement. The balance sheet is a snapshot. So it'll tell me what your business owns versus what your business owes. So that's assets versus liabilities. Remember that your balance sheet will show things for what the price they were purchased for and the costs incurred to make them. So any loans, if you own any property, vehicles, things like that should be included on your balance sheet. The income statement shows me your cash flow. So on the income statement, what you want to show is what you're getting in versus what is coming out. If your business is not making a profit yet, you can still include and still need to include your balance sheet and income statement. Please don't exclude those items because you are a startup. If they don't have anything on them, that's fine. If there's not much in your current accounts, that's also fine. Just please turn in the documents. In your proposal, which we'll go over, you can also include projections for those who are startups and aren't quite making money just yet. And if we go to the next screen, this is just a brief snapshot of what a balance sheet should look like versus what an income statement should look like. So as you can see on the balance sheet, I can see all the assets and all the liabilities and any owner's equity. And then on the income statement, I can see your revenue versus your expenses. So this is what your balance sheet and income statement should look like when you submit. And I'll turn it over to Gemini.
Thank you, JJ. So I'm really excited about this new section that we have in the webinar today. And it just really goes into detail what makes a strong application. So over the next few slides, we'll walk through some best practices we've seen from successful applicants and highlight a few common mistakes to avoid. So as you see on this slide, we want to see a clearly defined project. One of the first things reviewers should understand is your project. Reviewers should know exactly what you're requesting funding for, why the project is needed, and how it supports your business goals. Don't assume that reviewers know your business. They only know what you tell them in the proposal. If you've applied before, don't simply resubmit the same application. Take opportunity to explain what changed since last application. Maybe your business has grown, you gained new customers, increased revenue, redefine your project, or you're in a better position to successfully complete it. Help reviewers understand why you're applying again and what's different this time. So next, we'll talk about be specific and detailed in your proposal. So you want to really clearly describe what equipment you're requesting, explaining the items that you're asking for, explain the project, how the project will benefit your business. This can be if you're generating new revenue, if you're generating more revenue, if you're
expanding, how is this really helping benefit your business? And describe how the funding will be used. If that's purchasing new equipment, if that's infrastructure upgrade, being very specific with what are you upgrading in your building. So, yep. So be very specific and detailed. So here are a few examples of what I mean by being specific and detailed. On the left are statements that are just too general and vague, while on the right are examples that provide reviewers with a much clearer understanding of the project. If you notice the difference, the strong examples don't just say what they're requesting, they explain exactly what they're purchasing, why it's needed, and the impact it will have on the business. The additional details will help reviewers understand the value of the investment. So this is not something you just want to copy and paste. It needs to be specific to your business. And I will turn it over to JJ.
Let's talk about your project budget. When you're looking at your project budget, it needs to be realistic, meaning that what you're requesting, the amount of funds you requested. Remember, for entrepreneur, it's up to 400,000, and for STEM, it's up to 750,000. But if you're requesting something around the margin of 300,000, we need to know what you're purchasing, why you're requesting that amount, and if your business can match with that 3-to-1 match, which I will go over, what that would look like, and the total project cost. So that means from the EDGE funds plus your matching funds, this is what the project would cost. The budget should be clearly detailed. If we look at an example of a detailed project budget, as you can see, it labels everything from software to services, dumping fees, build out, picnic tables, cameras, water fountain installation, and with that category, what that part of that equipment goes into what category, what the EDGE funding is covering, and what the business is covering. This is a detailed project budget, so reviewers can clearly see what the business is covering versus what the EDGE funds will cover. The details in your ROI, or which is return on investment, should be measurable, and you should have quantifiable data. So measurable impact, you should be able to explain what the success looks like, how it supports your project, facts and figures, also pictures included, diagrams, things like that are also helpful for reviewers. The anticipated results from your project. So if we purchase this equipment and we're able to add this service, what that looks like for our business. How this project will strengthen your business, how you will be able to scale over time, over the course of 5 years is a good time period to put in there. So over the course of 5 years, how your business will grow from this project. And also identify your short and long-term goals. So looking at things like what we would like to do in the first 1 to 2 years with this project and what we would like to do in years 3 through 5. Let's talk about return on investment. Return on investment should include some of these key things, which are job opportunities. Are you going to be able to hire full-time, part-time, whether that be casual, seasonal? Are you going to be able to maybe hire a contractor, have internship opportunities available? All of that should be included in your ROI. Again, talking about projections, what your business growth will be over the next 5 years. This also can include diagrams. And also, what would happen if you didn't get EDGE? So if you didn't get EDGE, how you will still continue to scale your business with or without EDGE. It is important that whether you receive the grant funds or not, that you are still able to grow in the state of Delaware, and how you plan to support your business if you don't receive the EDGE grant funding. When we're looking at community impact, another section I like to highlight is thinking about ways your business impacts the community. And the way that I normally describe this as reviewers look at this is how you impact the community without your business making money. So are there things that you support? Charitable organizations? Are you coaching? Whether that be sports? Are you mentoring? Do you guys do physical activities? Are there days that for growth in your community? Maybe there's
a community walk that you sponsor, or other things that you're doing just to impact the community around you that doesn't make you any sort of money over the course of your business. What we want to see from our businesses is not only are they scaling and growing, but the communities around them are scaling and growing as well. Let's talk about some eligible projects versus ineligible projects. So on the left-hand side, we have eligible projects. That's building infrastructure, that's cosmetic enhancements, build out to maybe a vanilla shell, essential equipment, rent assistance, website design, market analysis assistance, or advertising, maybe marketing. Let's talk about those ineligible projects, payroll expenses that are not attributed to the project. Salaries and payments made to company ownership. You as an owner cannot use any of the grant funds to pay yourself in any way. The purchase of real estate. So if you are looking to purchase a commercial building, you cannot include that as part of the EDGE grant funding. If that's something your business will cover, you can outline that you plan on purchasing that, but it cannot be included in the project budget. Permits or government fees, any sort of taxes, whether that be state, federal, or local, whether that be county or city taxes, cannot be included in your budget. And improvements to your personal property or residential property. So if you are a home-based business, let's say you run an online business or you're running something out of your home, we cannot make improvements to your residential property. That includes things that are on your land, such as pole buildings, things of that nature. What's also another important factor is the 3-to-1 match. You do have to have some skin in the game. So you cannot just receive the grant funds. Your company has to have $1 for every $3 that the grant funding that you receive. So for example, if you receive a $90,000 EDGE grant, your company must have $30,000 from other sources. The other sources can be grants, loans, or cash on hand that you have, but you must be able to show that you also have that money. Now, you don't have to show it in the proposal, but if you are awarded, that is something that we go over during compliance reviews. The match should be specific to this project. So if you did receive another grant and you're using that funding, that should be included. Now I'll turn it back over to Gemini.
Thank you. Jamie, could you go back to the matching? Because I just want to, you did a great job, but I just want to add a little bit more details about being really realistic about your matching portion, because our reviewers will identify if your business cannot match, let's say that $30,000 because you're asking for $90,000. And if our reviewers don't catch it, once you get to that finalist and you have to pitch, the judges will also know, like, hey, your business is not able to, how are you able to match $30,000. So I just wanted to add on that. And so now a lot of people get excited about this part, and we're going to talk about additional points. But if you don't have a strong proposal, the additional points will not count. So that's why we did that section, because I believe in round one, we had 30 applicants eliminated, and that's just from not having the required documents. And also that community impact, round three, a lot of people are getting eliminated there. So that's why we really wanted to go through this section and highlight and emphasize, because we want you guys to have strong proposals. So this section highlights opportunities to earn additional points on your application. In the next couple of slides, I'll go into details to let you know how to determine if your business qualifies for bonus points. However, these bonus points should not be viewed as a substitution for a strong proposal. Your application must get through all rounds, and these points are added to your overall score if you qualify. This diversity status or self-certifying, as you can see on the left, those are our diversity statuses. So again, they are self-certifying, meaning you don't need to go apply or attain a separate certification. If you meet the criteria, you'll simply indicate that within your application. Other opportunities include being located in an opportunity zone or downtown development district, and if your business is in the governor's industry of interest. And remember, I'll go over these to determine in the next few slides.
And I'll turn it over to Siobhan White, the Director of Office of Supply Diversity.
Thank you, Gemini. Good morning, everyone. And as Gemini said, you can self-identify as a diverse business for this process. You do not have to be certified, but we do encourage you to certify if you are eligible. So if you have any questions and needed more information on OSD certification, I'm going to put my information in the chat. It will include the link to our website where you can find all the information, including our eligibility requirements, document checklists, and the link to the application portal. And I'll send any other information in the chat as well if you need to reach out to me directly if you have any questions. So good luck to you all with your applications.
Thank you, Siobhan. So if you're unsure if you're located in an opportunity zone or downtown development district, you can visit the link located on the slide. And also the links are being dropped in the chat box as we go along. So if you're unsure, please visit that link and it will tell you if you are located in an opportunity zone or downtown development district. So this slide lists the industries that fall under the governor's industries of interest. As I mentioned on a previous slide, if your business operates within one of these industries, you may be eligible to receive additional points, bonus points on your application. So you can take a few moments to review the list to determine whether your business qualifies in any of these governor's industries of interest. So if you're still unsure, this slide provides additional details about each of the governor's industries of interest. If you weren't sure whether your business fits into one of these categories, this should give you a better understanding of the types of businesses and activities that qualify. I encourage you to review these descriptions after today's webinar because this PowerPoint will be made available. So now I'll turn it over to Joe so he can tell you about our timeline for EDGE 2026 Fall Round.
Yeah, so today at noon, we're going to put the application live. So I did see there was a question if the application is live. It'll be live today at noon. Applications, again, are due September 11th at 4 p.m. Please don't wait till September 11th to submit your application because I guarantee something will go wrong. So please try to get it done by the 10th. Just because it's the 11th at 4 doesn't mean you need all of that time. Finalists will be notified on October 19th, and then the finals will be November 10th, and the awards will also be announced on November 10th. So that's a little bit new this year. We're going to have the finals, the judging, and the award ceremony all on the same pitch day on November 10th. So even if you don't make the finals, I recommend you block it off your calendar so that you can come and watch the finalists at the event. I believe it's going to be at the Chase Center on the riverfront. Also, just remember, it's a hard competition to win. Typically, somewhere between 4 and 7% of our applicants actually win. So that means, you know, mid 90% of people are not winning. It's difficult. A lot of people don't win their first try. We will work with you to make your applications better and better. If you are an awardee, we will set up a meeting with you post-award. We will make sure your company is in compliance with the state. You will have to sign a grant agreement. In that grant agreement, you agree to stay in the state for at least 5 years. The EDGE grant is considered taxable income, so you may have to consult with an accountant with any questions you may have with that. Next slide. And so resources and information. So when you are basically crossing your T's and dotting your I's, you can use stuff that is specific to your industry, but we also have a tool that you can use. It's called Size Up Delaware, and it's at delaware.sizeup.com. It can help you hone in on your marketing and advertising. You can analyze your demographics and do all kinds of measuring things. When you submit your application, you're going to have to back up what you say. Do not say conservative numbers. A lot of people like to say that. What's conservative to you is not necessarily conservative to someone else. Explain why your number is your number. Size Up Delaware can help with that, and other tools out there too. So myself and Gemini will be here to help you. We'll have some additional people too, hopefully to help out, but reach out to us for any guidance. Our emails are here, but we're also going to post them in the chat. And then we each have industries that we work on specifically. So I do STEM, FinTech, life sciences, biosciences, film and production, retail and hospitality. And Gemini does professional services, service-based businesses, agriculture, aquaculture, restaurants, and consulting. So hopefully those fall under your business. If it doesn't, find the one that is closest. If not, just reach out to us and ask us. Okay, I'll pass it back to Jamie for Q&A.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. And as a reminder, the recording for this and the slides for this presentation will be posted tomorrow on our website, and I'm going to put that link in the chat as well. So that way you have that. And quickly, before we go into the Q&A, just wanted to remind everyone to stay connected. We are always putting information out through our newsletter, and you can go to our website, business.delaware.gov, and sign up at the bottom of any page. You can also visit us on social media on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. So we've gotten a number of questions, in the chat. And so we've gotten a number of questions about the match. And so JJ, can you jump on and answer, does the match need to be liquid? Do business expenses like rent, utilities, software, social media, et cetera, qualify as matching funds? Can you just kind of go into the match a little bit more?
Okay, so when I say matching funds, this needs to be liquid. This needs to be money that you have on hand. Equipment, other assets, things you pay in rent do not qualify as matching funds. They need to either be in your account or in the form of, like, I know there was a line of credit question, things like that. You need to have liquid cash. So it cannot be assets, and in-kind services do not count. So that's why when we say the 3-to-1 match, for every $3 Edge gives you, you need to have $1, making sure that you will be either you have that money already, or you will be able to raise that money in the next 2 to 3 months, because the awardees will take place in November, and we will start checking for that right after the award ceremony. So making sure that you have that match, or you're able to raise those funds prior to. So if you're in the middle of a grant process, things like that, just make sure that you have that available.
Great. Thank you, JJ. We also received a question talking a little bit about the industries. So someone was asking, only those industries can apply, and no. So you can be in any industry and apply. Just the industries that were listed under Joe and Gemini's names are their areas of focus. But if you don't see your industry listed there, you can still reach out to them for support. And a question that we've gotten before is, we got a question about a digital app. And so there's a website, a mobile app, live data tools, and AI-driven features, but it's for a tourism platform. So should they do STEM because it's an app, or should they do entrepreneur because they're focused on tourism? Any of you can join in.
No, that's a good question. We try to leave this up to the business owners, just really depending on what you're asking for and what is your end goal when it comes to Edge. So reach out to myself or Joe so we can talk a little bit more in depth about what route should you take, whether that's STEM or entrepreneur.
Yeah, if you are questioning at all which one you should apply for, just reach out and they can direct you in the right direction. Are franchisees eligible for an Edge grant? Either a business with an established franchise looking to add another location, or businesses looking to invest and open up a franchise that is new to Delaware?
No, franchisees and franchises are not eligible businesses, along with nonprofits, which are typically 501(c)(3s, but they are also not eligible. We do have an employee, and I know that we didn't cover this, so Jamie, I'm just going to cover this real quick. You cannot have more than 15 employees as a business owner, and you can't be older than 7 years. You can also include some part-time employees. So for every 2 part-timers, that counts as 1 full-time employee, which you will put in your application, but franchises do not count.
And kind of going a little bit more into financials, JJ, as I have you, these 2 questions. One is, what should a startup in business for less than a year do for financials? And then when providing an income statement and a balance sheet, do you want it to be ending of the year or year to date for the last full month?
If you have been in business for less than a year, then it is year to date. So as long as you've been in business, you provide financials. The reason why we ask for balance sheets and income statements versus tax returns is because we do have startups. So even startups should have some type of balance sheet or income statement. And you can do that for the last 6 months if that's how long you've been operating. As far as those who have been operating for more than a year, I would like at least a year's worth, so 2025 year to date, and then the current year, which would take you from January to July 31st.
We did receive 2 questions about the proposal page limit. Previously, it was longer. And so, what specifically are you looking for now with a reduced page limit that you may not have been that you were looking for in the past that you're not looking for anymore?
So we did reduce it to 5 to 10 pages because the readers was seeing a lot of repetition when it came to the proposal. So we're not saying like, hey, if you're over 10 pages, you'll be disqualified, and especially those who submitted last year. If you could try your best to condense it as best as you can, but you will not be eliminated if you're over those 5 to 10 pages. We're still looking for the same thing. So the rubric will be your best friend when it comes to what we're looking for. It's in the rubric. You see those sections. I always tell people, look at the higher sections between 20 and 25 is what you want to look for, and what contains and what we're looking for in those proposals. And JJ, if you want to elaborate a little bit more on the page numbers.
So we're still at a max for 20 pages as well. So anything over 20 won't go past that page. I do understand that there may be some diagrams and pictures, which I said that you can add. So if it does go a little bit over, but the 5 to 10 gives you a little bit more of a comfortable range. As Jim and I stated, reviewers did see a lot of repetition in the proposals. So what we want to do is just give you an opportunity to condense that as much as you possibly can.
Perfect. If a business is currently located on a residential property, but we are looking to relocate to a non-residential property, would that qualify to request grant funding to relocate to a commercial location?
Yes, as long as it's not the purchase of the commercial location. If you are moving, so you need moving equipment, you're moving your equipment, you need to fill out a vanilla shell for the commercial property that you're moving into, yes. The purchase of the actual commercial property, no.
And then speaking of residential, if I saw this here, can a home business be in an opportunity zone?
That is a good question. So I would say if you put in your address in there, if it falls in the opportunity zone, I would say yes. As long as when you type in your address, it is an opportunity zone. I don't know if JJ or Joe wants to.
I mean, if that's where your business license says, then yeah, I guess.
I agree.
Is the grant taxable, meaning the recipient will have to pay taxes if received?
Yeah, it is taxable income. So you should check with an accountant if you're not sure how to do that.
If my business has branched off to serve as the holding company for the business, may we apply? The business is more than 7 years, but the holding company has just purchased property so we can expand services.
I would ask that you reach out to Gemini or Joe and send an email about your business so that we can see specifically.
And definitely seeing what your business, refer back to that business license, seeing what that date on there is for that actual business that you're applying for. So yeah.
Yeah, and if you have questions that are very specific to you that require more of a conversation, please do reach out to Joe or Gemini. And if you're not sure who to reach out to, that's okay. If you reach out to one of them and then they realize that your business it pertains more to the other person, they will forward you on. They work very closely together. So do not worry if you reach out originally to the wrong person. Further questions around the balance sheet and financials. If you are just launching, meaning you don't have any financials, what do you do in that situation?
Include your income statement and balance sheet with zeros. You don't have any money, and that's where your projections and your proposal will come into play. Please do not submit your balance sheet and income statement. It is a required document. So I understand that you don't have anything, but that's okay, because we will look at the proposal, the reviewers will match that with your projections, and we'll go from there. Very easy to tell that you are a startup. I know that people with new businesses get a little bit nervous about applying for grants because you don't have anything yet, but required documents are required documents. So make sure you submit them. Put some zeros on there. Don't just put balance sheet and income statement on a Word document and submit it. That does not count, but make sure you're going through all of the things that you probably would have as expenses or liabilities or assets, things like that.
And everybody needs a business. Everybody needs a business license, and they cost money. So that minimally will be on your balance statement.
Yeah, and I would hate for you guys to go through and put all this energy and effort into getting these proposals, and we never have a chance to review it because you don't submit those financials. There is a checklist on our website that that's the first thing I would do is print out the checklist and make sure that you have all these documents uploaded before you submit.
Someone was asking, and I can answer this one. Can you please clarify whether the designated development zones you highlighted are eligible or that businesses located outside of these zones can also apply for the grant? Yes, you do not need to be in an opportunity zone or a downtown development district in order to apply. There is just extra points for that. But if you are not located in those areas, please still apply. I saw one. If my needs are more than $100,000, can I request what I need?
Yes. You can request whatever you'd like to request as long as it's under the amount of the money that we're putting out there. So I believe entrepreneur, it's a total of 400,000. And for STEM, it's a total of 750,000. Nobody has ever won the maximum award, so I wouldn't recommend requesting the maximum award or near that. But if your project justifies it, your project justifies whatever it justifies.
Someone is asking if letters of support are welcomed in the application and are they even considered? Is that something that they should add to their application or would it not affect the results?
Yes, they are welcome and highly encouraged to get those in. You can put it in as an attachment, but if you do have letters of support, please mention in your proposal, and then you can upload it as a supporting document.
Someone is also asking, earlier in the presentation, we talked about the typeface and the font size and that they would like confirmation. Can it be rejected if it is in the wrong font and typeface?
Question again, Jamie?
It won't be.
No, it won't be rejected. It's just easier to read in Times New Roman and at that font size. If for some reason it comes in, the larger your font size, the more pages you're going to have. let's just, not use script, things like that, things that are easier to read. Times New Roman is standard for being able to be easier to read.
Remember, it's a competition. You want to make the judges happy.
It is the people that are evaluating these proposals are reading a lot of proposals. So the easier it is to read, the more accurate it is, the easier it is for them when you have a lot of proposals that are submitted. What if you are in the process of moving right now and you're starting to purchase equipment, etc., needed for the same program you are building? Can you show the receipts of what you've already purchased towards the match? No, the match has to be liquid money. It cannot be equipment, correct?
Yes, and anything that you purchase prior to Edge does not count. It has to be, once you sign that grant agreement, that's when everything starts counting towards the match and towards you spending what you asked for the Edge funds.
Great, okay. Can I submit more than one application if I have more than one business?
We're not going to stop you, but you can only, your one business can only win. So we're not saying no, but just know that only one of those businesses could win, and you can only apply. If you are awarded one time, you can't go back again and apply for the second business.
So that's a good statement as well. So if you've already won Edge for either the current business that you are with, or maybe you've created a new business, can you apply again and win Edge again?
No. No, you can only receive funding from Edge one time. So if you're an awardee, you can't go back and apply again.
Seeing if there's anything else. I see some questions about your own individual industries. Please reach out to Gemini and Joe for clarification. Can someone submit an application for entrepreneur and for STEM if they're separate projects proposed? So I guess you can, to your previous point, Gemini, but you cannot win twice.
That's correct. And you can't win in two categories either. So you can apply in STEM and entrepreneur, but if STEM, your business can't win in both of the categories.
Perfect.
Yeah, and you don't want to, these applications are difficult. Like I said before, like 4 to 7% of the people are winners. If you're like filling out 2 applications, it'll take much more time, and your odds of winning go way down. Focus on one application.
Yes, and know that those proposals are different. So you can't submit the same actual application for the STEM and for the entrepreneur categories because the proposals are asking for 2 different things.
We did receive a question about the judges. Yes, they're asking if the judges are business owners themselves or have STEM backgrounds. Yes, a number of our judges either are business owners, are individuals that train or consult businesses, have STEM backgrounds themselves. We get a diverse set of judges. So that way it is a kind of democratic process where it is not people that don't know anything about businesses or the STEM industry or do not have experience in these fields. So we make sure to have that.
In the first rounds, the judges are all our finance team, so they're finance backed, so they're going to really look at your numbers.
Mm-hmm. All right. The rest of the questions that I'm seeing in here are very specific to can stocks that we currently own be used as assets liquidity for the 3-to-1 match? I'm going to say no, correct, JJ? That is correct. It cannot be. And then my business address is in Kent County, but I work remote in Newcastle County. Can I use my address? You should be using the location of your business address, correct?
Yeah, your business license.
Business license, whatever address is on your business license.
And as long as your business is physically located here in Delaware, doesn't matter which county, Kent, Sussex, Newcastle, but just as long as it's in Delaware.
What if your business and LLC are different, but still owned by one or more of the same owners and you won Edge? Can you apply? If you are the owner, if an owner already won Edge, they cannot reapply.
Any owner that's on that business cannot reapply. Doesn't matter if you open up a new business. If you are owner on that additional business, you cannot apply for Edge again.
And if correct me if I'm wrong, but if your business is not currently in Delaware and you do win, you have to move your business to Delaware.
Yes, you do.
And most of your business has to be operating in Delaware, 51%, correct?
Yep, 51% has to be, and 51% of your employees.
Can you use 401k money?
Yes, if you pull it out of if you pull it out of your 401k, you cannot
raise money.
Yeah. The 401k belongs to them until you liquidate it. If they count it as an eligible expense, you'll need to contact the holder of your 401k to see how that would work for you. When I say liquid cash, I mean it's available.
Does a business founded by immigrants qualify for the grants, and are there any additional requirements?
No, there are no additional requirements, and yes.
Absolutely.
So yes, founded by immigrants, completely qualify. Yes. As long as you have a Delaware business license, that is not a problem. No additional requirements in that regard.
Correct.
Yes, the webinar will be posted tomorrow at noon. Would grant funds be eligible for expenses associated with establishing a leased physical location, such as leasehold improvements, build out, office furnishings and equipment, technology, signage, and other costs necessary to make the space operational?
Yes.
Yes, that will be eligible.
So not buying the location, but
upgrades,
build out.
Outside of the building, yes.
Perfect. Corporate address is 8 The Green downtown. Mailing address is not. Can I use downtown points?
8 The Green is the general address that they use when you don't have a physical location. That does not count as a downtown development district, and you will not receive additional points for that.
That's a registered agent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Is there a fee or cost to join the competition? No, this is completely free. There is no fee to apply. Is the asset limitation for you personally or just the business?
Just the business. We do not look at your personal financials.
Perfect. And then someone's asking about what using the 401k money for what. We were reading that question to mean that if you used your 401k money to pull it out, to use it as the match, and that is what we were answering before.
Yeah, if you remember that slide, the slide with the build out in it, like for every $3 we use for the project, you have to put in $1 for the project. So you have to explain what your $1 is going to do in the proposal.
All right, we are getting to the end of our time and our questions. If you have additional questions, Gemini and Joe's email addresses are both in the chat. Please feel free to grab that content before we end. Not only is that information there, Siobhan White from the Office of Supplier Diversity, her information is there. The link to our website, to the Size Up feature for the onestop.delaware.gov, where you can get your registration and licensing portal for businesses, as well as the Opportunity Zone information is all in the chat with the link. So please feel free to grab that before we close out. And then, as we said, by tomorrow at noon, all of this information will be on de.gov/edge. If you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to the team. We are very excited to have so many people join us today, and we are excited to see your applications as they come in. As a reminder, the deadline is, if I can move this
September
over,
the 11th.
yes, is the 11th. September 11th at 4 p.m. So please start working now on your applications. And thank you so much. Have a great
Thank you,
rest of your
everyone.
day.
Have a great one, everybody.